Week 11 of college football has just wrapped up, and we're here to talk about it. Welcome to the Stock Report, and what's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo. Just in case you did not know so, go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. As always, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that nice, beautiful football discourse. Special thanks to Manscaped for sponsoring the video. You can get 20% off at Manscaped plus free shipping when you use promo code Broshmo at checkout. If you want to support the channel, go ahead and enhance your nether regions, I guess. Let's go ahead and get into this with Will Levis. He is the most controversial prospect, I suppose, at least in terms of his play, because obviously not a good game against Vandy. Kentucky just gave Vandy their first conference win in, what, like 30-some games or something? I don't know, but it wasn't pretty. Listen, we all know why people like Will Levis. When it comes to it, you look at the tools, they're there, the physical tools. Like arm strength out the wazoo, an arm capable of making any NFL throw, a guy that's operating in an NFL-ready offense. Like, shoot, his former offensive coordinator is now the OC for the Rams. His now offensive coordinator is a former 49ers quarterback coach. So, yeah, that's a thing. His mobility, you're going to love it. It's just straight up between the ears. Between the ears. It's not there yet. It's not. You got to, like someone's going to take a chance on this cat, right? Someone's going to do it. Thinking they could iron out the wrinkles that are decision-making, because decision-making just hasn't been good all season. He has over double the amount of turnover-worthy plays than he does big-time throws. And you go back and like you kind of think about it. It's like, well, I mean, typical, like, because he went to Penn State, right? And he couldn't unseat Sean Clifford. And you would be like, typical Penn State passing on a future first-round pick. Or maybe it was like, we'd rather go with the guy who, can operate our offense and occasionally we'll have the goof now and then, rather than the guy we think will just be goofing all the time. Like at Kentucky, like here at Kentucky, like last year, I mean, at least he had the big time throws. He's already matched his turnover worthy plays from last year, and the honestly, the accuracy's fine with him. It's just, it goes down to decision making and process, and it's taking him too long to process the field. 4 sacks in this game. Like, you're going to go back, when people go back and watch this guy, they're going to go to that Tennessee game like, oh, that was hideous. Well, maybe let me see an easier team. Oh, Youngstown State? Holy crap, he sucked in that game too. And it's not like he doesn't have, like, he has banger games. Not this year, but they're there from 2021. And I get it. He's dripping tools. It's just, I'm not touching this guy inside the top 10. If I don't roll the dice on a guy with tools, it's probably outside the top 20 if I'm going to be completely honest with you. It just might be. So, I don't know. We're going to hear a lot of we're going to see a lot of people with the same opinions rating Will Levis everywhere. Like, he's going to be from top 10 to outside the top 50. And yet everyone's going to kind of have the same opinion on him. It's just, how much do you value those tools over, like, how much do you value what you think he can be to at least what he currently is now? It's really going to be the question. My next down stock, it's a bit of a sad one. It's Travis Dye out of USC. He went down to a season-ending leg injury. It was initially ruled a fumble, then not, because his knee was down. But that's not even important. His season's over. That sucks. He's going to enter the draft now. And I really think he doesn't get drafted. The dude's going to go and be a priority free agent. Like, he really is. He's gonna get on a team. I think he could impress in camp. He might be able to stick it out as, like, maybe some sort of, like, maybe practice squad. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. But maybe they could see, like, a special teams role for him. Like, I just don't know, man. Like, doesn't have like let's just talk about Diaz, the prospect. Former Oregon running back, if you didn't know, had a banger year in 2021 for Oregon. He was on his way to another banger year for USC, as he really came out with a hot streak in the second game against Stanford, and then he was just consistently putting out 100-yard bangers. Kind of a slog the past few weeks against Colorado, against Cal, then yeah, and to be fair, I mean, Colorado, he was injured, I think, in the third. So, or was the third? I can't recall. But it was later in that game. He wasn't really getting much of things going. But yeah, dude, it's just such a downer, really. Because I know some people like Mel Kiper, I think, has him as like a midday 3, like a 5th round prospect. I'm more of like, I felt better about him the 6th, 7th round. Because this guy he's prime scat back. That's what you see him as, and hopefully maybe he could bring some return skills as well. But at this point, I think it's such a good running back class. I think he is going to get passed up in terms of what he is. He's a guy that affects all phases of the game, whether it's as a runner, receiver, special teamer, and I think all that made him draftable. It's just the injury now that he's going to be. It's going to cost him his offseason draft process. I just don't see him getting drafted, unfortunately. But really sucks, man, because like he lacks like the big reasons that I wasn't that high on him. Just kind of lacks an ideal frame. Needs to put on some considerable amount of bulk. Power was never his game. Never would have been. The forced missed tackles were much better this season compared to last year. He was showing better contact balance, I would say, this season. And athletically, honestly, he was maybe a bit above average. But I mean, being a smaller back, you expect. I know you're looking at a 200 smaller back. It's like, yeah, 200 and below, you're a smaller back. Calm down. But that sucks. That's rough. Honestly, best mustache in the class, though. I really do hope he does get drafted. I mean, we saw what happened to his former teammates, CJ Verdell. I think Verdell ended up going UDFA as well. Let me just confirm that. But I wasn't that high on CJ Verdell. Yeah, he was a UDFA. I believe I'm reading that correctly. Yeah, he went undrafted. But I was actually much higher and behind Travis Dye than I was CJ Verdell at this point. So it just sucks. Just wanted to bring it up. A guy that I've probably talked about a couple of times this season. Just wanted to fit him in here because we probably won't talk much about him until we get into like the actual offseason draft process. And even then, him being unable to participate, we're going to end up talking about those guys that are in those all-star bowls and such. So we'll see when we get there, but get better, Mr. Dye. And then let's turn this sucker around. Let's talk about some good stuff. And I want to talk about Jalen Moreno-CROPPER. I don't remember. He just added the Moreno this year too. So fun. But I actually really like that cat. I think I had him just outside my top 100 when I did my top 200 big board at the beginning of the year. Oh, excuse me. Whew. But I love he's doing like, I came into this year like, man, this guy, prototypical slot dude with a little bit better size, really good after the catch. And you know what? Holy crap, dude. He's playing on the outside a majority this year. I think he's at 80% playing from the outside. And he's looking good. The drops ain't there. He's been a very sure-handed guy the last 2 seasons. Legitimately, he's just exceptional with the ball in his hands. He can break a run of like 70 if he can. He showed a lot of forced missed tackles last season with 17. He's already on his way to beat that. I think this year he has 16. So he's going to pass that. He's going to pass that easy. And ultimately, I think this cat might end up like, I don't know, man. I don't think you just pigeonhole this cat in the slot with how well he's playing on the outside. And He is a bit thin, 172. I'd like to see a bit more meat, and he doesn't exactly bring the Devontae Smith physicality to the position where it's like, oh no, he could probably get by on the outside at his size, because like Smith, dude, was true competitor, man. Physical off the line, won't let guys try to bump on the route, and he played a lot bigger than he did. I mean, that's not exactly Crooper. Crooper is I really hope I'm saying his last name right. He's a guy that can make catches in contested or in traffic, but not necessarily like a jump ball guy. That's just not his game. He's gonna be a yak machine. I kind of like him in the early day 3 area, and honestly, I'm gonna talk about him a little later on the list when we talk about another guy who could be deemed a slot only. I don't know. We'll get to him. We'll get to that player when we get to that player. On to Lathan Ransom at Ohio State. Had a banger of a game this past week. 9 tackles, tackle and a half, or a sack and a half. Had a pass breakup. Also had the block punt. You freaking love to see it. And I'm gonna be like, he's having a great year, but I'm gonna be straightforward with you. I don't think he comes out, man. He's got another year of eligibility, and I really think he might end up staying. I really do. I kind of have him as an early day 3 guy right now. But to be fair, like, he's put out a lot of good play this season. I just want to see a bit more in terms of the splash plays. So now he only has an interception and 2 pass breakups for the season. But he's a guy that you love the versatility. He has a good build, great length, and he could play in the slot, play in the box, play deep. He could do it all, and you love to see that. He's a guy that's capable of stonewalling guys at the line of scrimmage if you want to kick him in the slot. Shows good short area quicks. He closes on the ball well underneath. He's very good in run support, 14.8 missed tackle rate, which that's pretty solid for a safety. And it just really sucks. So we should have saw him a bit more in 2021. And I believe he went down to he had a really bad leg injury. Or no. He was in and out of the lineup. There we go. He was in and out of the lineup in 2021. Then he went down to the Rose Bowl to a leg injury. But he's come back. He's played well. Even this year. Like, he hasn't been, like, the dude wasn't like a consistent starter. I want to say that they were trying to bring him back slowly. But the first 2 games of the season, he was playing 40 plus snaps. So it's like, but he didn't really get, like, they didn't really hand him the starting job until week 6. So it's like, I feel like there's so much more I want to see from him that I think he's capable of. And I do have questions about the launch speed. I'm thinking he might be a slot box guy, but I'm not afraid if this guy plays split high, which most of the NFL's doing now because they hate that teams can pass on him, and honestly, it's working. But having a guy that also can come up and play the run well, I think is very key in those 2 highs if you're going to kind of like not bring a lot of players into the box. So, well, I'm a big fan of him, and I really am. Again, kind of got an early day 3 grade on him because of where I see he'll end up playing, but honestly, like, he comes back, and I think he has some day 2, like, legit day 2 potential. On to Drew Sanders. We're going to talk about this cat because I want to talk about another linebacker here as well, because Drew Sanders is probably going to end up, at least as it stands right now, he has moved to linebacker 2 for me. Still a top 50 grade, but he has moved to linebacker 2 for me, and had a good game where against LSU. He was all over the place. They weren't able to win the game, but it wasn't because of the defense. Defense played phenomenal for Arkansas. It was that offense. Obviously, they didn't have KJ Jefferson, but still. But yeah, I've moved him up. I love this guy as what he brings as a pass rusher. He's got like 9 sacks on the season, over 30 pressures. It's no surprise that when he was with Alabama, they tried to make him exclusively an edge rusher. Really, if you're going to kind of nitpick, it's like, okay, the splash plays aren't really there in coverage, and he needs to work on the missed tackle rate. Though, in all honesty, last 3 games, he's been really good at not missing tackles. I don't think he's missed a tackle in the last 3 games. So that's a plus. Still, the rate hovers at 20%. Still, that's a bit scary. But this dude's a great athlete. You love the twitchiness. He's a guy that you're going to want to blitz a lot at the next level. But a guy with his length, you could kind of like, he could be solid enough in coverage and just if he cleans up the tackling. Like, I feel really good about Sanders. The other cat I want to talk about here is Alabama's Henry To'oTo'o, a guy that started out the year pretty good. And then Alex from Hammer Sports suggested that I go back and look at more of his recent games, and man, the turnaround. That guy is just woofing coverage at this point. And there are times where it's like, I feel like he just doesn't trust his eyes. Like, and you could even tell this on, like in the run game, where he won't necessarily take the best route to get to the ball carrier, or he just doesn't see it. And there are times where he's late to react, or he will buy he'll buy into a play action and start already behind the play. Like, the dude's a wonderful athlete, man. It's just, I feel like he has been the same player for the last like 3 seasons, like coming from Tennessee and then these last 1.5 seasons at Alabama. And it's like, I really thought this year, like at the beginning of the year, he started turning it around. But I don't think he just looks like the same guy. And I think he might end up like he's probably still a top 100 player just because how good of an athlete he is. But, and the lack of girth in this linebacker class. But yeah, I just kind of want to mention that because I think To'oTo'o was still my linebacker too. If him and Jack Campbell were pretty close, and I kind of gave the edge to To'oTo'o because of the athleticism, but I feel like Drew Sanders fits the bill more than To'oTo'o, so now I'm giving Sanders the edge over Campbell. Poor Campbell, I just can't get into that linebacker 2 spot for me. But yeah, good week for Sanders. And then we got Jonathan Mingo. A few of y'all keep asking about Mingo, so I think it's time to talk about him. He had a tutty just a day and a half ago there in a losing effort against Bama. Tight game though, and we'll talk about some of the injuries that happened on Alabama's side after we kind of cover Mingo here. And I get why people like Mingo, man. I like Mingo too. I kind of have him in the early day 3 area. I don't know if he's a guy that's gonna crack the top 100, but he's close. He certainly is close. He has that prototypical X size, and he uses his size exceptionally well. And he can locate and find the ball at the catch point. Provides a very nice window for his quarterbacks. He will run through arm tackles. Like, you love to see it. What he can do after the catch. And I'm just so happy that we've actually gotten a chance to now see him a bit more, because if you were unaware, this is a guy that's kind of suffered injuries, notably foot injuries, the last couple of years that have cost him time. If you like go back in 2021, foot injury cost him games. He only had 38 targets on the year. Go back to 2020, foot injury cost him time. Had 50 targets that year, but put up basically similar yardage numbers. While this year, he's been able to play. And he's got 30 receptions on the season. He's almost doubled his yardage. Or basically, he has the combined yardage from 2021 and 2020. 4 tutties on the year. A guy that is difficult to bring down. Doesn't mean you can't bring him down. Only 3 forced missed tackles on the year, but he is difficult to bring down. A guy that mainly operates on the outside. Like I said, prototypical X size. And probably the best thing is the drop rate. Only 1 drop on the season thus far. He was at that 10 to 11% between 2021 and 2020. So you love to see the sure-handedness. He's very good at the contested catch right now, averaging 63.6% at the contested catch, which that's phenomenal. Honestly, if you're above like 35, then it's typically a pretty good indicator of like, okay, this guy's pretty solid at the contested catch. You get into that 45-50 range, it's like, oh, you're very good at the contested catch. Or if you're Michael Pittman, you go like, or Drake London, you're just like 100%. But man, Mingo, I'm a big fan of. I think he does end up though being like this contested catch guy that's probably that could provide a little juice after the catch. Like, he's not a sudden athlete. The long speed's fine enough for what it is. He's just not that dynamic, and kind of is what it is at this point. That's why I kind of got the early day 3 grade on him. Notable injuries in this game for Alabama. There was Eli Ricks. He left early in the first quarter because of a head injury. And Nick Saban says he was okay when he went to the when they were in the locker room for halftime and after the game. Sounds like could be a concussion. He's going to be a concussion protocol. So hopefully we get to see him this year, because he was a guy that was definitely regenerated. I don't think that's the right word, but he was helping out that his draft stock after not in the starting lineup to start the year. And then Jahmyr Gibbs twisted his ankle. Don't know how bad it is. No word on that. And they just felt like he couldn't come back into the game. But the way Saban, man, obviously we'll get more clarity as the week goes on. But like, my dude, like, he was like, he made it sound like if we needed him to come back in the game, we probably could have brought him back in. That game was close as hell, Saban. What do you mean? What would it take for him to come back in the game if it wasn't like, I don't know. I don't know, Saban. But yeah, hopefully it's something he could kind of shake off and return to play with. Or even, like, honestly, if this cat wants to sit and opt out and just get healthy and prepare for the draft, like the off-season draft process, I think he could do that. I feel like Gibbs has kind of cemented his stock as a top 75, top 50 prospect at this point. So good on you, Gibbs. Let's move on to Christian Haynes. Was a cat I just checked out this week or last week, and I went ahead and watched the Liberty game. That was poor Liberty. The dream is over. The dream is dead. But I watched the Liberty game, and I love what I saw, man. Because in this interior class, it's not that meaty of an interior class on day 1 or day 2. But I definitely think Christian Haynes, I'm kind of on board with the Renner here. First off, this guy's a good athlete. Like, I'm a sucker for a really good athlete. And he has an immense starting experience over the course of his career. And we'll kind of I guess we can get into that right now. Like, former 2-star recruit at a 2018 class. He wrestled in high school, which will make sense when we talk about what he brings to the table. Redshirt his freshman season, became the starter at right guard in 2019. Connecticut didn't have the 2020 season because of the Rona, and then 2021 resumed being the starter. And you know what? Like, I remember going back and watching Ryan Van Denmark, there we go, at left tackle for Connecticut, and it was like Denmark, like, for me, he was always like this 7th round, late day 3 guy, Denmark. But I was like, oh, the right tackle moves very well, or the right guard. It's like, but it's Connecticut. I doubt, unless something happens, unless I hear this guy brought up, I doubt he's someone I have to look at right now for my like off-season process. So I kind of like put it on the back burner. Got to him this week after hearing like, this guy's playing good football. Really loved what I saw. This dude, quick feet, covers a lot of ground, which is great in today's outside zone blocking schemes that the NFL loves to run. There's little wasted movement. He's very quick out of his stance. He's typically always first to the point of attack. He plays with that nastiness the NFL loves. Like, this guy, he understands blocking angles. He throws precise jabs. Like, he knows how to wrestle with guys. He's a mauler. Things that could get better. This guy just needs to sink down lower. Like, he really struggles to gain and maintain leverage, and a lot of that is just because he's standing up. He's standing up straight. Lets guys get under his pads for free, you know? And it makes him look weaker than he probably, like, he's already, I would say, like, he's about average strength for the position. But, like, on those reps that he does, like, lose in the run game, which are few and far between, it does look like, oh, man, this guy's getting bossed around. It's like, he's just playing high. Pretty sure, like, yeah, like, a guy that, listen, you're a former wrestler. I know you can sink low, so sink low for me. I went back to watch some of his 2021 stuff, which, because I forgot the name of it. Freaking Ryan Van Denmark. And I was like, that's how I figured it out. I was like, that's right. That was his name. I was talking to Alex just the other day about this guy. I was like, yo, put this guy on your watch list. And I was trying to bring up, I was like, there's that other Connecticut tackle. I can't remember his name. And I was like, watch it. I went back to watch Haynes. I was like, Van Denmark. That's what it was. But in terms of technique, he's made a lot of strides. Like, he's a lot less awkward in his, like, kick slides or just sliding back into pass protection. Honestly, like, I thought this cat was going to be a much better run blocker than pass protector when first watching him. And, like, the dude's a phenomenal pass protector. He's only allowed 2 pressures on the season, 6 penalties. It's a little high, but it's not bad. Not bad. But yeah, it's like he's done this against, like, honestly, like, all right competition, like NC State, Michigan. Dude, Michigan, he was giving them the zeros. I love that. I love that. He goose-egged Michigan. Solid. But yeah, a guy definitely put on your radar. The interior class for the offensive line, I don't want to say it's getting more interesting, but now I would say there's, like, at least 6 to 7 names you should probably know about for day 2. Probably. Maybe even 7 to 8. Like Nick Broecker. Kind of like him at guard. I kind of do for Ole Miss. All right, on to MJ Anderson. I'll be shocked if y'all know about this cat for Iowa State, because he just started holding down the starting gig. He was mainly a rotation player for a large part of the season. Week 9, he actually got his his opportunity to be the true starter, and I would say this week's kind of been the coming out party. Like, he was solid. He had a sack in, the previous 2 games, and then he comes in this week against Oklahoma State, 5 pressures, doubling what he did in the prior 2 games. So I was impressed. I was like, I need to know about this guy, because everyone talks about Will McDonald and his mom. I want to know more about this cat. And he hasn't played a lot of snaps. That's the thing. This guy's sample size is small. It really is. So he actually used to play at Minnesota. And he redshirted his freshman season in 2019. And then he played in 5 games in 2020, but barely saw the field. Was more of a reserve, not even a rotation role. Bit of the same happened in 2021. If you remember, they actually had some decent NFL talent there at edge that kept him off the field, Boye Mafe. And now he came here and had to work his way into the started lineup. But, like, I feel like this cat he was demanding it. Demanded is like, give me more playing time. Give me more playing time. Like, this guy didn't have more than 27 snaps in a game until week 9, till he became the starter. Love it. This guy fires off the line of scrimmage. He shows really good explosiveness, really good athlete as well. He does a real good job of splitting double teams. Like, this is the guy that is taking attention away from Will McDonald, so McDonald could go and do his thing. And I mean, you look at it, 6'3", 275, and it's like, holy moly, man. Like, and again, sucker for a guy that never stops his feet on contact. When he gets to like when he meets them at the point of attack, like never stops turning the feet. I love it, man. But he does look like I get everyone uses freaking bull in a china shop, but it's true. It feels like he's playing faster than it feels like he's moving faster than his head can keep up with. So in that regard, it's like maybe some things need to slow down for him, and it feels like he's playing a bit out of control, but it's just like he gets to the backfield so quick, and it's like, what's going on here? It's like he plays too fast for, I guess, for his own good, but he puts himself in positions to make plays, and I love that. Like, also, people could point out an abysmal missed tackle rate for him. So not exactly a guy you want out in space, but I think that's fine. It's just the sample size is so small with this guy that he's going to need an off-season draft process. I think if he's going to even be on people's draft boards. Like for me, I look at a guy like this, I was like, yo, let's take a shot at that on late day 3. That's what those picks are for. So, yeah, I mean, let's see what his... I haven't really checked his special teams. Doesn't look like he has much to speak of in special teams. But I guess that kind of is what it is. So it's like, I don't know, man. Like for me, I'd take a shot at him. I think I got him as a late day 3 guy right now. And yeah, man, this edge class is freaking impressive. All right, Zay Flowers. You saw him on the thumbnail. We're going to talk about him now. And this cat had a banger game, led Boston College to a victory over NC State, ranked, at least at the time, NC State. And I feel like he's really now just started connecting with, we saw the backup quarterback in this game, and they connected, man. They really did. And you love to see it. Now, listen, biggest thing for me for when it comes to Zay Flowers is that size. But 66% of his snaps this year have come on the outside. He's shown to be not just a vertical target, but truly he is at his best when he's in the slot. Opposed to a guy like Cropper, Jalen from Fresno State. I don't think Flowers can play on the outside in the NFL, or at least not consistently. I think he's a guy that's going to have to play inside the slot, just because of that size. And to be fair, if 172 is what he's playing at now, that's lower than what Boston College was saying at the beginning of the year, where he was 5 pounds heavier. So I don't know. I think he's a guy that can put on size. Doesn't mean it just means I don't think he's going to be drafted that highly because of it. I think he could definitely sneak into the later part of day 2 because this dude's so sudden. He's so speedy. He has great vision as a ball carrier. And like this cat can play, like if he needs to get make catches in traffic, he can play through contact. He's just not going to be a guy that can consistently make contested catches because he just doesn't have the size. Is he a guy that can win on the outside when he takes on physicality? No, I think I'd rather have him have a free release. So release opposed to a guy like Jalen from Fresno State, who honestly, he's taller, thinner, but I think can put on the weight. Opposed to Flowers, who I think cannot. I mean, to be fair, they're both literally like within a couple of spots of another, and I actually have Flowers higher. But yeah, listen, man, you can't teach speed, you can't teach his suddenness, his stop-start ability, but size is going to be an issue. There are going to be some cases where you need to scheme this cat. I don't think I'll ever come around to him as like a top 50, maybe not even a top 75 guy, but you get into that like end of the 3rd round area, early day 3. I would love to have a cat like Zay Flowers on my roster. Just gonna put that out there. What's his average depth per target this year? 10 yards. That's pretty solid. Did have one of his touchdowns this week was when he was in the slot, by the way, coming off a drag. And then he just makes a few sick moves and then turns on the burners for like I think it was like a 39-yard touchdown, something like that. That last guy on the list here is Drake Thomas, because we haven't really talked about this linebacker class a whole lot. There's not a lot of guys really to talk about. It's not a great linebacker class. But Drake Thomas might end up being I think the Malcolm Rodriguez of this class. I really think that might be the case because he lacks the height, not great size, not great length, just a good football player. Just a really good football player. And I remember the other NC State player last year when he went down, Peyton Wilson. Is it Peyton Wilson? Yeah, Peyton Wilson. Took Thomas kind of under his wing, and because now you had Thomas move in from because they like to use him at the will position. They moved him now in the middle, took him under his wing. Thomas ended up having a phenomenal season in 2021. Now he's playing more on the outside. I feel like they really love him there. Because this cat can shoot gaps, and in all honesty, there's a little bend to him. There's a little bit of bend to him. He's been really good on the year. I think he's 29 pressures, 30 pressures. He's got 5 sacks, and I really like this guy maybe mid to late day 3 in this class because, again, you have the limited or the lack thereof physical tools when it comes to Drake Thomas. It's just you're not going to find a guy who, this dude packs a punch. He's a sure tackler, or at least he is this year. The year before, he was all right. It wasn't terrible. It was just under that 20%, but now he's hovering at 11% this year. You love to see it. So, sure tackler. He is, if you look at the previous year when he was playing more in the middle of the field, he showed ball skills, to be fair. A lot of those came from tipped passes, but he was opportunistic. And, straight up, man, this was a cat that when they faced Louisville back in 2021, he spied Malik Cunningham the whole game. Shut him down by himself. He's, at the end of the day, man, I love the short area quicks. He's got good pursuit speed, packs a punch, just a really good football player. Where that will take him in the draft is yet to be seen, but I think he's going to pay off from this linebacker class being below average, I would say. Yeah, below average. At least as of right now. But yeah, that's it for the video. Go ahead, let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you want to support your boy, check out Manscaped. Get that lawnmower 4.0. I was using it the other day because now my wife, she's not pregnant. Still got to wait 6 weeks till we can get frisky. Is what it is. But I was doing a little trimming of the bushes. It's so gentle. It's got a light. I don't suggest shaving in the dark, but you can. It's got a little headlight, little headlamp. That's kind of cool. But yeah, if you want to support the channel, check out Manscaped. It's in the link in the description below. As always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.